All right. You have written some phenomenal pieces, and I would encourage everybody to go to Niners Nation and read Jordan Elliott. Let's talk a little bit about your article on the kickoffs. The NFL has made some changes to the kickoff. It's like I feel like we're in like step 5 of like a 10-step program that ultimately is going to result in them eliminating the kickoff altogether, and we're just going to see the ball placed on a yard line after the end of a field goal or a touchdown, and we're going to, 10 years from now we're going to be sitting around going, yeah, I've been following football since back in the day when they had kickoffs. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this guy was a fan back when there were kickoffs in the league. It's like I feel like we're going towards in that direction. Give us the latest. You wrote a whole piece on this. It's a really well written piece, and it just seems to me like whatever point we're at now, it seems like a stepping stone to eventually the elimination of kickoffs. But what has changed going into this year?
Yeah, so basically this year the biggest rule change is just that. So let's say you kick the ball off and it's on the 5-yard line, doesn't make it to the end zone, which 49ers fans saw plenty of when Robbie Gould was handling kickoff duty here. Rather than a team being forced to run it back or let it land and see where it bounces if it goes into the back of the end zone, they can fair catch the ball anywhere inside the 25-yard line, and the ball will be placed at the 25-yard line, the same as it would as a touchback. So we're at a point now where there is a lot of data that shows how dangerous kickoffs and special teams plays are to the athletes that are, on kickoff units, the return units. That's why we've seen them, take away the wedge blocks. I think there was a study a couple years ago that 30% of all torn ACLs occur on special teams plays, even though they only account for 17% of the overall total plays. So I think you have this combination of the NFL realizing that it's really bad for player safety and a lot of players not wanting to take on that risk, which is totally fair because at the end of the day, the players are the product. And if they're getting hurt, then everything else goes by the wayside, which is what I said in my article. Like, if you have guys getting hurt, then that's the number one priority. You have to account for player safety. And because they were being more conscious of player safety, they've had to amend some changes. And I put in the article, like there's been a long history of this, right? So I think it was like 50 years ago, almost 1974, the NFL moved the kickoff line from the 50 to the 35-yard line in an attempt to generate more explosive plays. They wanted the ball to be ran back out, so they pushed the distance back. Then in 1994, they pushed it back even farther, and it was at the 30-yard line. And so, like, I was born in 1995, so the majority of football I grew up watching was that. And you had guys like Allen Rossum and Dante Hall, Devin Hester, Brian Mitchell, where when you look at the all-time kick return leaders, the first 9 all played in that era. But the problem was that you had this very, very high injury rate that came as a result of it. So I think it was 2011 was when they moved it back up to the 35. And then you saw the touchback rate go from 41% to 61% in the first season. So long story short, the NFL wanted this explosive play. Too many guys were getting hurt. And then the changes that they made to prevent the injuries have effectively led to the majority of kickoffs resulting in a touchback. Now with this new rule, it's going to make that increase even further. Let's just stop beating around the bush. Let's stop wasting time. After a team kicks a field goal, coming out of the half, starting the game, scoring touchdowns, any play that would have had a kickoff, just have the other team start at the 25. Most people, I don't want to speak for everybody, most people watch football to see the offense and defense play. I can't think of many people that are tuning in every Sunday to watch guys fair catch balls in the end zone. Let's just get rid of it entirely. I think at this point, if that's the direction you're going, it's a waste of everybody's time. And you can spin it as player safety too. The NFL needs good PR for that. Spin it as player safety. Say that's the reason why you're getting rid of it, and let's just move on.
Do we know what the vote was?
I'm not sure. I know that a lot of special teams coaches hated it. They were not on board with it. They were not fans of it.
Well, I mean, it just takes their entire job and it takes a whole layer of intrigue away. So basically, anytime you're inside the 25 on a kickoff, and let's say it doesn't go through the end zone, but you fair catch it at the 15-yard line, you're going out to the 25.
Yes.
And this is what, to just prevent the injuries that potentially could happen on this play?
So that's been the majority of the reasons behind a lot of these changes. They didn't say specifically why this one was the case. And it is a 1-year trial. So this could be like, remember a couple years ago, they did that with the pass interference challenge and it was a disaster and they just scrapped it the next year. That could happen here.
They kind of scrapped it in season
Mm-hmm.
because they kind of stopped calling it, even though it was a rule on the books.
Yeah, and they just every review they didn't overturn anything. It seemed like they were just kind of trying to prove a point. Yeah, I think it's a situation where all of the rule, like the touchback rule, moving it from the 20 to 25, like all the things they did were basically to discourage the players from running the ball back out, which again would lead to more injuries. Another one, I think the concussion rate, the first year that they changed the touchback rule in 2011, went 40% down just in one season. So I think it just got to a point where it's like, if you're going to discourage guys from running the ball back with all these rules, just eliminate it altogether. Like I think everybody will sleep fine at night without kickoffs being part of the game. And again, it's kind of the situation where if it was going to be what it once was, I'm all for it. But, gone are the days of, again, Devin Hester, Dante Hall, some of these electric returners that we used to see. I just don't see the value in it. And punts are a little different. You can't just do away and get rid of punts. So I think that, you keep that and there still is value in having good returners. But if you just look at these games, like how often are you seeing highlights on Sunday when you're watching, red zone or whatever, where guys are running kicks? It just doesn't happen anymore. And I just don't see the entertainment value that's left in it. And it just feels like a waste of time all around. Like it just feels like these guys are running these 60-yard sprints upfield just for a guy to, kneel in the end zone week after week after week. And just
it does feel like you almost need to explain to somebody, if you were watching football with somebody who's never watched it before, it's almost like inevitably their question would be like, well, what was that all about? You know what I mean? Why did you even have that play? What's the purpose of the play if you're just going to, if it's just going to be a formality? To me, the one thing I think it's kind of interesting is it definitely gives a game, TV breaks, and TV breaks pay the bills. And is that why it hasn't been eliminated earlier? Because it's kind of a convenient way after the end of a score to group together a bunch of commercials, pay the bills, and we're just kind of used to it because, you see it. People, if you're at a Super Bowl party and someone scores, people, will focus when the quarterback trots back on the field, but they kind of view the kickoff as almost just like a gigantic bathroom break.
Yeah, I think that could be there too. But at the end of the day, just extend the commercials, give the guys more, you could just kind of run the same, because there's going to be a commercial between whatever score happens or coming out of halftime and the kick happening. Just extend the commercials by a minute or whatever it might be. The only other thing I could think of is it's like, the sport is called football, right? And we're slowly but surely removing feet from being a part of the game. And it's getting to the point where it's like I'm a big soccer guy. I love watching, European soccer, big Liverpool fan. And it's so funny when you hear like people that aren't from America, they're like perplexed as to why the sport is called football, because other than field goals and punting at this point, that's all that's really involved there. So I'm wondering too, how much of it is just kind of like do we have to keep, kicking involved to a certain extent for just the sake of the product and the name at this point? Because it's kind of funny explaining football to people that are from other countries that don't watch it, because they're kind of like, what is the, football to them is soccer, the sport that's played almost entirely with your feet. And in America, we have this sport where we're like slowly removing that from being a part of the game that's named after it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's seriously, you'd almost need like some kind of insider person to tell you, explain to you the origins of the sport and how we arrived where we're at right now.